Cavalier faithful, welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. It is the third season. You heard that correct. Not one, not two, but the third consecutive running season of Cavs Encapsulated. My name is Jeffrey. Justin is next to me. Logan down below. If you do not know us, we are three diehard faithful Cavalier fans. We'll have fiery takes. We'll have balanced takes. We'll come on and sound irrational. We'll come on and sound sharp. And you guys are going to be along for the ride the whole season long. I know that. Welcome on in. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Send to your local Cavs friends who want to talk basketball at the professional level with the boys. All right. With this being the first episode of the third season, I know what is on everyone's mind. You know, it's how the Cavs are going to perform, how everyone's going to play. No, absolutely not. What is happening with these uniforms? Justin, you're the merchandise guy on the block.
Yes.
Give me thoughts. This is the best picture I have. I know it's small. I know you have to see it on, the fit on and with the shorts and when people wear shoes and all the other different gear with it on. But I just want to hear your thoughts early on.
I actually tweeted, these are, I think the top, the land obviously is getting overused with everything that we do now in terms of Cavs jerseys. But that being said, this just looks like one of the better city jerseys out of the grouping. I didn't really look at any of the other ones that were quote unquote as good or better, but I certainly just perused the Denver one is just what's going on.
Terrible.
But besides the point, going back to ours, I think it's just a shade darker in every term of our red jerseys that we already have, and the numbers are slightly off tilt with the things going on. I can't tell
slanted.
But I can't tell what the etchings on the on the collar and on the sleeves are. But honestly, I'll probably get one of these. I just have to see it on someone first because it's either that red jersey or it's the basic red jersey, which I can get that whenever. But the point is, I have a Donovan Mitchell jersey that's white. I have a Darius Garland City Edition jersey that's red. But I'm a sucker for City Editions. The question is going to be, do I get the minivan or do I get Amani Bates?
Oh, wow.
That's the real question.
I was thinking, honestly, off rip here, I was kind of thinking maybe getting a Strus of this just because we have control of them. But here's the thing. I think that the city jersey, just the thought of it's really polarizing because it's we're doing it every year now, which I'm cool with. If, maybe we could get one that's elite once in a while, like we did 2 years ago, I guess, at this point in technicality. But Logan, will you be buying this? And let me hear it.
I tell you what, last time we talked, I was uncertain of these jerseys, and after sleeping a few nights on it, I think it's a safe jersey, and there's nothing wrong with that. Would you like to see more? Certainly. But let's talk about the Chicago Bulls, right? The Bulls are one of the most iconic NBA jerseys out there, mainly because one Michael Jordan. The pinstripe.
Those are terrible.
Those are awesome. What the fuck are these?
What?
No. Here's my least favorite. This is
awful.
What is this? What is the N doing in Angeles?
Look at all three of those.
That is horrible.
Awful.
Clips.
Dude.
Looks like chips. I'm gonna keep it 100.
That's what I'm saying.
Adidas giving up that contract in whatever that was, 2017, was the hugest mistake the NBA has made in a minute. And I'm talking about a professional league that isn't run to that high of a standards as far as I'm concerned. I think they have a lot to improve on, and they know it. That's why you see the stuff, the midseason tournament, yada, yada, yada. But Adidas said, just anyone in the comments, when's the last time Nike has done anything cool?
Yeah. I mean, even our jerseys from 2 years ago, I don't like the yellow in them that much. I still feel like that yellow is mustard colored, but that's just me. But we haven't had someone put out, and we've talked about it, guys, someone put out the last 5 years or 6 years of Cavs City Edition jerseys. The 2020 or the 2021, 2022, no, that's wrong, right? Or
which one? No, that's
right. The one from 2 years ago. Yeah. The red
right.
one that with the Cavalier on the front.
Really beautiful.
That one is by far the best one. And then it's a huge, significant drop off. I think I have this one maybe listed as second or third. And then I can't even remember, but we've had some really bad ones. The gray ones, the orange and blue ones. I love orange and blue. Those are two of my favorite colors. that like wave type thing that
Lightning
they were
bolt
doing.
in the middle
What
of the
was
freaking
that? I can't remember the other ones because they're so basic and bland, but those two were so bad. And then you have the CLE with the script. That one's like, it's fine looking. I like the blue. I think Logan, I think you had an exchange on that one, but I think that one's where like it's a safe one. It's kind of got some coloring in there, but man, I can't even think about the one that I'm missing. But we've got some bad jerseys.
Our regular jerseys are so damn plain, so I appreciate them just putting something on the collar, and around the arm sleeves. I can appreciate that. I'm not mad at these. I was kind of uncertain about them, but what more can you really do, right? Could you bring back blue? They swore off blue 2 years ago, so whatever.
LeBron left us because of this. That's the exact reason he left. He's like, what am I wearing? When he put that gray jersey on, he's like, what in the world am I doing here? I'm going to Los Angeles.
I mean, I just think like as far as fanfare, like I'm the first person to denounce just appealing to the fans because you want to, but like this is your opportunity to do so with merch. Like, where is any utilization or any like hint of the skyline at all? I know that's going to be a creative like leap, but also I think you got to do it once, but I think it's probably a Nike thing at the end of the day. Why don't you go 1 year with the sleeves on it? You know how many people would buy those if they had sleeves just because just because I would buy one if they just brought back the 16 finals jersey and just put us in them all year.
I hate those things.
I know you do, but the lore and
you have to love them, Justin.
I don't like the sleeved jerseys in general.
I don't like them either, but they're just so iconic to the city. Like they do all this stuff where we had a little bit of this, we had the rock and
that's the dumbest thing.
They're doing the wrong stuff though.
That's the dumbest thing that I hear every year with these Nike jerseys is that they ask the city to quote unquote, or like they ask the teams to quote unquote, like take something from your city or that's unique to your region and make it a part of your jersey. And what fucking way am I looking at this and thinking this is Playhouse Square?
Right. I'm sure there's more behind it. But
the jerseys last year, it's the Metro Parks.
That was bad.
Where the trees? What are we talking about here? I just stop with these awful explanations and these awful jerseys. Just do something. Just be better. Hire someone. It literally, I could pick off like 10 people from a street and get at least 2 great designs that are better than these.
Hey, I mean, you said it. I'm not gonna lie. So I think that's the fun stuff off rip. But moving into more of a serious matter here, we're gonna start with Logan because I believe he was not only our leader in individual games picked last year, which we will be doing again all season long this year, actually starting this episode with 3 games this upcoming calendar week. But I believe also didn't you have the exact record that we ended with last year, 51-31? So kick us off here. You could give reasoning, you could go in depth, you could keep it simple, but the numbers are what we're looking for here, overall record, and maybe hear about where you think as far as placement in the East as well.
Yeah, numbers. Maybe the third time is the charm for you guys.
Okay.
So let's talk, right? So I don't think the Cavaliers are going to start the season very well. And we've talked about it in the past. Nowadays, 55 wins might be good enough to get you first in the Eastern Conference or in the Western Conference. It's a really talented, balanced, rugged league right now. We used to see some 60-win teams, some high 50 wins teams. It's not really a thing that we talk about anymore. So for me, I'm looking anywhere between 48 to 54 wins. Obviously, I'll give you an official number here shortly, but I do think we could be I wouldn't say bad as 48 wins. I still think 48 wins could be a top 4 seed right now. Yep. I don't know. We'll see how it happens once, they lace up the shoes. But for me, I think last year we were fortunate. We started 8-1, then we were 500 for about 3.5 months, and then we finished the season semi-strong. So I think this season we start out rough. We quickly see what the problems are, whether it's backup bigs. We're one injury to a Mobley or an Allen away. We already are an injury at Allen. We're one injury to one of them, long-term injury from being really, really rough and really, really shorthanded down low. So it depends. If Strus is really what we think he can be to this team, if Niang can give us a couple of dribbles off the bench, if Emoni Bates sees some minutes, if we But I think come deadline, we're going to see the Cavaliers make a move or two. And I think it's either to shore up the, down low, get some rebounders, get something like that, or a bucket. We talked before the podcast, and Justin won't let Cam Thomas go. Cam Thomas doesn't know who Justin Harold is, but I promise you, Justin Harold knows exactly who Cam Thomas is. And so I think the Cavaliers will finish the season strong. I think we start slow. I think we finish this season.
Ooh.
See,
I'm letting you go first, because if somebody else has your idea, then it's going to be like, oh, you kind of just stole his vibe.
Right.
He had me pegged at. I had us pegged at the highest 48 wins. Is all I'll say.
That was your high end.
Yeah.
Okay. Go. All right, Logan.
I'm gonna go 52-30.
So one less win than last year, actually.
One more win than last year.
Oh, 50. What did you say?
52-30.
Oh, we had 51 last year.
Now you're making me guess it, though.
So wait, so you have 52. Justin's high is 48 because off rip for me, I was going to say 49 and 33.
I'm not locking it in. 50 wins.
So we have 49. So I have 49, but here's my thing. I think back-to-back years we're going to be fourth in the East. But right now, if I had to give prediction right now, I think Milwaukee will be first. I think Boston will be second. I think the New York Knicks will be third, and I think we will be fourth.
Wow.
Justin?
I'll take us as a top 3 seed at 50 wins. I'm locking it in officially.
Okay.
That's not a bad season. Everybody thinks, oh, that's one less win. It doesn't matter.
The regular season, throw the regular season out. And I say less wins than last year because just from historical data, and me and Justin talk about this on camera, off camera, on the phone, in person. Sports are not linear. It always should be, oh yeah, we improved the roster. Everyone tangibly knows this. We should have more wins this year. Not how it works.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jeff hits the nail on the head there. I'm just already looking at Logan, you made the point about it already. Already down to Jared Allen. Your next 2 centers, Damian Jones and Tristan Thompson.
Yikes.
That's who you're working with if you don't go Evan Mobley at the 5, Dean Wade at the 4, or whatever rotation you want to start the season off with. I think a very obvious thing to think here is that we improved, the roster's improved, everything we're seeing in the preseason is improved. I've seen this tale before. It's such a cue for disaster. Not disaster, but setting expectations way too high. And I've done this. Jeff and I have been doing this for 4 years. We've been doing it for the Browns. And Jeff and I have even gone through and made a whole document of why we think we should win games, why we think it's going to be this prediction and whatnot. I'm prepared for this to be a roller coaster of a season. And I have us starting out really, really well. I think it's going to get really, really messy probably 2 months into it. And that's going to be December time, a little bit closer to that, trade deadline. And like Logan said, I think there's a very high possibility you're looking at a package of Okoro and Jared Allen being shipped, or one of the other, in terms of getting something back that in that moment is needed. And again, I've always been the guy who says Evan Mobley is going to be the future 5 of this team. And I think at some point you got to clear the way. So all that stuff being said, I'm taking a lot of it as injuries might happen. And a lot of our offseason moves were made in the 3-point department. Guess what? Guys can be hot, guys can be cold, and it can happen. I got us at 35. Oh my God. Sorry. 45, 45 and 37.
Wow. That's shocking.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get this scrolled across the bottom.
I understand. Here. It's real tough. By the end of the season, they could have.
So this looks all accurate at the bottom. I just want to make sure that we're locked in here. 50 for Logan, 49 for me. Justin on the low end.
We're changing my mind.
I'm just saying this is going to be so dumb because my my dumbass, I'm going to be on here every week picking 2 out of 3 wins or 3 out of 4 wins. And
Justin's going to be at 45 wins on January
my original
1st.
prediction is going to probably be dirt wrong, but my in-season predictions
probably
be
good.
Spot on.
Yeah, for sure. These are preliminary predictions.
Like I did last
and I think I want to make a distinction. If I'm wrong, one of you two say something. I think that you guys have both talked about trades mid-season, but don't categorize it as far not you guys, but as far as the audience out there. I'm just explaining to the audience. Don't categorize it as a blockbuster deal.
Right.
Think about it more of like the LeVert move a couple years ago, something of that nature that a lot of people thought made sense. You need to bring a guy in who could score the basketball. Similar scenario, I think, is what both you guys are talking about.
We brought in George Niang and Max Strus for the playoffs, plain and simple. That was a playoff type of move. It wasn't a regular season kind of move. We know that Strus struggled in the NBA Finals, but he was a huge part of getting them to the NBA Finals. George Niang is just that solid veteran that's going to give you quality minutes. He's not afraid to get out there and kind of be a pest and annoy the opposing team, talk some crap. These are the kinds of players that we wanted to get. We didn't get rebounding, and believe me, in the playoffs, rebounding is very hard to do. I found that out when the New York Knicks kicked my ass last year. But believe me, I think the Cavaliers will address that down the road. They made moves for the long run, for the playoffs, for the what matters, the games that matter, not for the playoffs. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
And I'm going to be honest, first of all, these are long season predictions, 82 games, very difficult to know what's going to happen. And if anyone is out there, make your case for 60 wins, make your case for, 55 wins, having an improvement season. I'm here to listen. But when it comes to us being behind the screen and you guys watching, fan to fan, in person, virtual, YouTube, at the stadium, however you want to look at it, everybody knows the assignment this season. Yep. Who cares about the regular season in the totality of the situation? Here's your goals from least important to most important at the end. Least important, make the playoffs. Not because that's not important, but that should kind of be a gimme. Second least important, get home court advantage. Let me put the big parentheses on there. Had that last year. Didn't really matter. Didn't really help. Third, and most important, is win a playoff series. You could be 45-37, like Justin said, not get a home playoff series and beat and upset a team in 5 games. We just saw it. So the regular season in the NBA continues to matter less and less. I know you have to work out kinks, but that could even be, stuff that leads to losses, rotations, lineups, who you're going to play with this, not starting the year off with Allen potentially. A lot of different things. So that is pretty much the cherry on top as far as I'm concerned with that conversation. Let's move along to player stat lines. And I don't want to get really, long-winded about this, but I just want to ask some like yes or no questions, and let's just talk like in generality. So I'm going to start with Justin. Let's start with Justin's guy, Darius Garland. Well, since we're with predictions, and then I'll come to you, Logan. Will Darius Garland average a double-double this season in points and assists?
No, he'll get damn close, though. I feel like he's going to get like a 9.6, 9.8 average on those assists. I gotta imagine with him not having to be the only spot-up shooter outside of Donovan now, you've got to be thinking this dude's going to be able to get way more assists outside of just ooping it and dishing it off in the paint to guys like Allen and Mobley. But man, is there a part of me that really thinks that now that I say those things that he could really get to that, double digit stat line, but it's always
around him for assists this season.
Yeah, it's just so tough. And I feel like we'll see everyone's assist numbers increase this year, but for Garland specifically, I'll put him right at that 9.6 stat line for assists.
Okay, so close but no cigar. Logan,
no cigar.
Do you think he gets over? You think he gets to that double digits in assists?
No, I like 8.9 to 9.1, somewhere in between there.
Okay.
I do. At the end of the day, you got to make shots to get the assists, right? And I feel like Garland could have 27 assists every game sometimes. He's a terrific passer. I think it's the most underrated part of his game. I think it was one of you that might have said Garland reminds you a little of Chris Paul, offensively, I should say. Offensively. Maybe it wasn't one of you two, but I thought it was. But he is that kind of player. He is a floor general. Now he's got to cut down on turnovers. He got a little sloppy with the basketball last year. Obviously, that's something he's going to have to get together. But I think the team assembled around him, like we said, if the Cavaliers want to play quicker, I think that plays to Garland's advantage in getting assists. Whether that's Strus filling the lane to hit a corner three-pointer as Garland drives, whether that's Mobley running the floor, Mitchell, of course, catching an oop. So, I think at the end of the day, does it make a big difference? He has 9.1 assists or 10.1 assists? Maybe not. It's cooler to look at in the stat line. But for me, right, I want Garland to be more aggressive this year. And I mean, I'm not going to say less passing, but I want to see him really dominate some games. And he showed flashes of that last year. And we know he can do that. I mean, a couple of 40-point games. Didn't he have a 50-point game? He had a 41 against the Nets. What was that game against Minnesota where he went? Was
it 49 or was it 51 that he had?
It was something crazy. But we know he's capable. And I said this a couple of weeks ago to you guys. I think if this team wants to get better, if they want to be better prepared, I think Garland needs to be the number one option on offense. And that's a weird thing to say. I'm not saying our number one scorer, but I'm saying the guy with the ball in his hands the most and setting up this offense. I think Mitchell drops. Sorry, Jeffrey. I don't mean if this is a question that you're going to have. No. I don't think Mitchell gets 28.3 or whatever he had last year. I think he's
okay. So I was kind of going to ask about that, but not really. Yeah. Garland had 51 against Minnesota. That was November of 22. So
that's what I thought
last year.
So yeah, that for me, I think he's not going to get the 10 assists because I think I'd like to see him be more aggressive in scoring the basketball and taking a few point lead there.
I think I'm going contrarian here. I think he does average a double-double with points and assists. Honestly, just because I think he was obviously close last year, and you have Niang who could run the floor, spot up and take, weird shots that maybe we haven't seen in a transition offense that are high quality, high percentage shots for him. Same way with Strus. And I think you only have the chance to go up. If he plays with Ty Jerome, I think Jerome's not a bad shooter in totality. Let's say Amani Bates gets some run out there with Darius Garland, another guy who could shoot the basketball. So I think the opportunity is definitely there for him to do it. And we're all kind of saying that. It's more or less just, will that number really manifest at the end of the day? Logan, I'm glad you brought up Donovan Mitchell. We all remember the iconic 71 points last year. I don't think you could predict that again. But my second question out of 3 is, will he have a game over 50 this season?
I think so. I would say book it. I think at least one of these games we're going to have a Donnie Mitch game where, because he had 4 straight 40-point games to end the season last year. He was on a total roll and a total, depends where his mind's at, right? If we're losing ball games, is Mitchell going to be, raring to go? I consider Mitchell to be a gamer. I consider him to really, really hate losing. And that's why we were so freaking nervous after losing to the Knicks last year, because things get a little more complicated with Mitchell. But I think he's a gamer. I think on any game where either Garland can't go, someone's struggling with their shot, you still have Donovan Mitchell, who's just one of the best scorers in the league. To me, he's the best shooting guard in the NBA. I think he shouldn't have been on the second team last year. I thought that was BS, but that's just me. That's me as a Cavs fan, kind of biased. I do think we'll see one, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see 2 50-point games from Mitchell this season.
Fair enough. I actually totally agree. But Justin, how are you feeling about that? Do you think he'll get to 60 or more?
I think he could drop a 60, Paul. My thing with Donovan is you want to talk stat lines. This dude's going to have a huge drop off in points. I'm going to 24 points per game, but he increases his assists to 6.8 or to 7, I got to see marginal changes in a lot of people's stat lines this year for various reasons. One, we're talking about the rebounding. I need to see some guards get into that, more so than Donovan. I'm saying he was already your third leading rebounder at 4.8, which is awful. I need to see him hopefully get up to that 5-6 number. But guys like Isaac Okoro or, Ty Jerome or anyone else, Strus, these guys who are playing 1 through 3, I need them to crash the board a little bit more. But sticking to Donovan, I'm thinking he's going to be a 24 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, probably a little bit higher. And then I'm going to say he's going to be a 6.8 assist guy, which are marginal improvements, but things that will help the team win games is what I'm hoping. We need to see.
I don't know
more
if he
of that.
can shoot much better than he did last year. Like, I don't know if his field goal percentage. Like, people are saying he might have easier shots this year. I don't know if he's going to be able to shoot much better.
Literally.
Literally.
And you talking about Logan. You were saying he finished the season off with a lot of high scoring games. Think about how the season started. Garland goes down game 1, and he's got the whole load. You know, he's got to be dropping the 70 points, the 50 points, the 40 points. You know, we're not going to see a lot of that this year because even if a guy like Garland goes down, guess what? You're not running Okoro out into the starting lineup now. So guess what? You get Strus to bump up. You get Karras in the lineup. This is still that's still a very viable starting lineup. Now, obviously, hopefully we're not racking up the injuries like we already are. Jared Allen out. Hopefully no one else goes out in those first couple of weeks, but you never know. That's why I just had that prediction.
I'm super high on Karras this year, by the way, but we'll let Jeffrey get back to the question.
I hope you're right.
I'm going to be honest, Justin. I think that's the point of the day for me is that everyone knows the talent is there, but you saw the play style last year and how the offense ran, and I know you have to factor in adding other pieces, but it was pretty clear that is not going to get the job done, specifically in a playoff series. So it's not necessarily a negative, he's going to average less points per game, but it's like, let's not have the Donovan Mitchell show have to come to fruition because we could play team basketball on offense, still maximize the elite talent and caliber of our players. Obviously, they're going to come and bail us out. Garland's going to have games where he bails us out, but it was the common theme last year where we needed that to happen. If it happens this year, it should be like, okay, Garland bailed us out and we won by 30. Not Garland or Mitchell bailed us out. We barely won the game, double overtime in Boston or however, same way with LeVert. We know that this team could score the basketball. It's just more or less, can you shift your play style to what produces winning basketball in the postseason this year? Logan, my last question, because I think this is going to be a talked about topic here. You give him a substantially bigger contract that he had when he was with Miami. Last year, Strus, 35% from the three-point line. Now, it was his highest three-point attempt season of his 4 years in the league so far, but 2 seasons ago, he averaged 41% from the three-point line. Take that 35% number. Do you think higher or lower as far as the totality of this season for him beyond the arc?
I'm going to go higher. I like 37.5%, 38% from downtown. And I think we know how Max Strus is. I wouldn't call him streaky because I think overall he's a great shooter. I think he can have a game or two where he's not catching anything, but that happens in the NBA. But I think what I noticed, and I'm assuming you might have asked me this question, Jeffrey, because we saw it in preseason. I need to see Max Strus get in some spot-up situations. I mean, obviously, preseason's preseason, but that man was running around and catching the ball and then having nothing there. Obviously, not having Garland most of those games, not having your normal lineup, that hurts things. But, you could see Niang got his opportunities spot-up-wise. Amani Bates even got opportunities spot-up-wise. So if Strus can get to those spot-up situations, he's not being absolutely worn like a glove by by the defense. He could easily shoot 40% from downtown this year, but I think we're going to see him on the move a lot. I think we're going to see him having to kind of go a little Kyle Korver off those curl screens into shots, and if he can get a good stroke going, I think he's certainly over 35%. I'd like to sit somewhere between 35 and 40. I'll go 37.5.
Okay. Justin, you had a reaction, with listening to Logan there, so I'm just curious to what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the Strus controversy for me. He's a Miami bred player.
Yep.
Guys coming out of Miami who leave that system typically do not continue to do as well as what they have. However, Strus is probably going to get more minutes than what he got in Miami with us. My only question is, does he need to put up as many of those threes as he did back then, where I feel like he was asked to just constantly, as soon as you get the ball, I feel like you could see he was contested heavily. I think he had a super high contention for his threes. I thought that someone put that out there as a stat. I'm definitely going to say, man, because I feel like he's going to take less. I feel like he's going to take.
But that could be better if he's taking less.
Right.
His percentage could be better because he's not asking to take crazy, circus shots.
Jeff, you know it better than anyone. Everyone out there on Twitter, Okoro's improving his 3-point shot when he's still taking 2.2 3-point shots from the year before. hey, glad that out of one of the 3 shots he's going to take, he makes one of them. But with Strus, it's the same damn thing. If the dude's not going to be taking them as much, then yeah, his percentage is going to go up because he's a good 3-point shooter. If he goes from shooting 7.5 threes, I'm looking at this on ESPN, to 6.5, yeah, I'm under the assumption I'm going to go with Logan. He's going to be over just because I think he's going to take less.
I agreed, but because both your guys' logic really. I think he's going to shoot better. I don't know though. It's like, can you really definitively say? I think you can definitively say he's with better passers here than in Miami. It might be close. Miami fans might disagree. I know Butler gets the ball to people in good spots, and I know they had Gabe Vincent and Lowry, a couple other players down there, but I think Garland.
Mitchell.
I think Mobley's like an underrated passer out to the wings too.
Hell, even Jared Allen can do a little bit.
Right.
Down
so
low.
I think the passing's going to be better, and I think that the looks are going to be better. But my putting the bow on the Max Strus conversation is that if I have complaints about this acquisition this year, I want to make it abundantly clear that when we acquired him, and any future complaints are not coming from a place of I think he's a bad player. That is never going to be the case. I think he's actually a very good NBA player, and that is pretty apparent and obvious. My complaints and my worries and my questions are from the top of Justin's point is that this dude was created in Miami, and I go in I know I'm the weirdo. I go into general manager mode though. The dude was making $2 million last year. He's making $14 million this year. And I know that it's not 1-to-1 math, but you 7x'd his salary. Yep. He's not going to be 7 times better. And I know, diminishing rate of returns and all the, it's advanced math. I understand that. But that's my thing. Like, you gave this dude a considerable salary increase to come to a position where he can't even be a considerably more stat-worthy player because of who he's surrounded by. That's fine. That's not his fault. We're not asking him to be the 1. We're not asking him to be the 2. In a lot of instances, if LeVert is having a upswing year, not even asking you to be the 3. And Mobley, he's the future over Strus and should be in everyone's opinion. We're not even asking you to be the 4. So that could be even better. But the 5th guy making 14 mil or 16 mil, whatever he's making, it's an interesting dynamic to say the minimum.
He better have a marginal increase in his points per game with us. He won't.
What did he do last year?
11 points. No way are we giving a guy 30 minutes who's supposed to be able to shoot like he is.
I would say he should be like 15. Yeah, he should be like 15.
I'm going to spoil it for you guys. And I was going to say this, but I didn't want to get you guys too round up.
Now you got me round up.
I know. I think Max Strus is going to be a very, very good 10.7 points per game guy. And I think that people are going to get lost in translation with that. I don't see him getting 15 points. I mean, that's not because of the guys we have here. I just think his role is calling for 3 to 4 threes a game, maybe a free throw or 2. Like I think that you have to understand, like Jeffrey said, right? You don't. The NBA is crazy nowadays. How much people make, right? And it's not exactly about the points per game and the stats every time. It's more a matter of, but he's moving around so much that other guys are getting opportunities. It's the impact that he's having. I don't think we're going to see it as much in the scorebook. I think my hope is we can just get a Max Strus of Miami last year. That's the minimum that I want from him. I know that doesn't really sit well with a lot of people who see the money that's on the books, like Jeffrey and Justin.
I get your point though, because Max Strus of last year is better than the majority of what we got as a consistency output of last year. Yeah. My only issue is that I will start to have issues if he's Max Strus offensively from last year. And I know that everybody is so specialized and you can't ask these dudes to do anything besides tie their shoes and hopefully score in today's NBA. But he has to be able to defend at a competent level. I'm not asking you to be an all-pro. I'm not asking you to be defensive player of the year contention. You won't be, obviously. You have to be able to defend, and like Justin said, you have to make a conscious effort to rebound the basketball. But Logan, I will give him I will give him intrinsic value, big words here, that
Right.
if he's scoring 10, but the defense is guarding him like he can score 20, he'll be worth the money. Because, the 6 or 7 from Okoro that Justin talks about isn't enough because the defense don't care. You have to have somebody out there where the defense
That's fair.
cares.
No, that's a good point.
Here's what I'll say about that, Logan. I'm going to say the opposite of what you were saying, and I'm going to say it's going to be because of the players that we have here that he might not get to that number, because I don't know when I hopped on this bus. I'm sorry, when I hopped on this van, but God, do I think that Niang is going to be such a huge piece of this team? Someone tweeted out, make bold predictions for this season. And part of me really just wanted to be like, Niang's going to be the 6th man of the year.
Oh, God.
Listen. The man, if you go to look at his stats, there's nothing to suggest that he can do that.
You're right.
If you gave him more minutes, maybe he'd be like Kevin Love. That's my thing. It's like, the dude looks like a younger Kevin Love.
Kevin Love made a lot of money in his career. I'm not going to lie.
He looks like me in high school minus a beard. That's what he looks like.
Lordy. But listen.
Niang isn't that young, though. Like, he's not
that young.
It's not like Niang is like when Love was like first starting off in Minnesota, like that. Like maybe 6 years ago, if he was the player he was now, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
But man, does he just give me Kevin Love vibes where he's going to pull up and he's going to be contested and he's just going to sink them, You talk about, in the last video, we talked about Cavalanches, right? And Chetty Osman was a guy who was constantly a factor of the Cavalanches. I feel like Niang's going to be one of those dudes who he comes in and it's not going to happen right away. He's going to build the reputation and everything that I already have fallen in love with for some reason, but he's going to come in and he's going to hit some really like either clutch threes or really like contested threes that just get people out of their seats. And that's what you went out and did. You went and got Strus because he's a spot up shooter that guys go out and protect him on the 3-point line. You went and got Niang because you know that you need a stretch 4. You need someone who can go slot in at 4, move Evan down to the 5, and have Evan just be the only person who occupies the paint while he sits at the, in the corner or wherever his sweet spot is and just drills triples for ease. That's my like crazy player stat line or whatever we want to go with that. But I do think that Logan has the right idea. You signed LeVert to a bigger contract. Dean Wade is coming off of, an injury. He looks like he's getting better. Who knows what his role is on this team, but It's definitely going to be one of those things that and this is the other thing we haven't even talked about, JB and how he's going to split minutes, how he's going to run rotations and whatnot. Those will all be intrinsic to what Strus can produce. So
I'm gonna be honest. I have a new phrase here. New phrase here, boys. The annoying assassin. Niang is our annoying assassin.
Annoying? Why?
Hold on though. When you're playing a team, like when Brooke Lopez drops like the random performances, imagine playing us and Niang has like 8 threes, and you're like, what the hell? This dude who's really shouldn't he, like, look at this guy. First of all, it's like when we played every year, we see Golden State, and then Iguodala has those random games where he goes for like 5 or 6 threes, and you're like, this is so annoying. Same way with Andrew Wiggins. You got these people around the league who just go off. Cavalier killer. I'm going annoying assassin. But with all that being said, I'm coming off the top rope here because I already got my idea percolated in my head. We're losing to the Nets. First 3-game prediction, by the way. We predict every game, week in and week out. We keep track of it. You'll see it on the next episode. We'll have spreadsheets. We'll have diagnostics. We'll have analytics, everything. However, we're losing to the Nets. We're going to win the Thunder game, and then we're going to lose to the Pacers. Reasonings. The Nets game, I think, no Jared Allen. It's going to be interesting. You have to get people incorporated. You're on the road. The Nets aren't bad. I don't think the Nets are a bad team. Playoff team adjacent minimum. Could they get a playoff series this year? Depending on how they perform. Like we were talking about earlier, they have Cam Thomas. They have Ben Simmons. We know they have the players who played good for them last year. The Thunder game, we're at home. Opening night at home. We get a day off. I believe the Thunder game is Friday. So we're Wednesday away. We have a Thursday off. Friday, we're at home. vibes are good, adrenaline's high. We beat the Thunder, still a young team trying to find their footing. Not that they're bad, but they have the potential, still trying to find their footing. Good. And then the Saturday, it's back-to-back for Indiana. So even that's a home game. I still think we're a liability back-to-back. I'm hope that they prove me wrong this year, but I got us 1-2 in this first 3 games.
Logan, I don't know why he went first considering you won last year.
Well, Logan should go last, really.
What?
He should go last, technically. I mean, it's the first week, though. It don't really matter.
No, I don't. Listen, it's not like it's gonna matter because Logan, you remember this from last year. I mean, I had us
leading the way for most of the season.
I had us going streaky.
He's gonna say Cavs. I know.
Cavs,
he's gonna probably win the week.
Cavs, baby. Let's roll. Let's go streaking
deal or
already.
no deal. Cavs.
I come with like 5 or 6 sentences. This dude just says 3 words and he's done.
Bop, bop, bop.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, both of you are wrong.
2-1.
Yeah, we're gonna lose at Brooklyn because we can't rebound the ball. And if a guy like Day'Ron Sharp was kicking our ass on the glass last year for the Brooklyn Nets, it's not going to be much better without Allen. So I think that's just kind of one of those games that I'm going to learn my lesson from last year. I was so confident going into Toronto for the first game of the season last year and failed to recognize, one, I didn't see Garland getting hurt in the first game of the season. 2, it's just like it is that first game of the season. It's on the road. Tensions are high. It's tough to pull out. And I think Mikal Bridges drops a 34 ball on us.
Okay.
The Thunder game, that one's going to be tough, boys. I don't care what anybody says. The Thunder could not only could they be a play-in team last year, my bold prediction is they could potentially be a 6th seed in the Western Conference. And I know that's nuts. But I think Chet Holmgren's for real. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They have a bunch of young guys that can play defense. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort. I don't know. They're just a tough team. They were a tough team last year to put away, right? They're just a tough team that plays you close. It'll be no different. I'm excited for the Chet Holmgren versus Evan Mobley game. That's for sure. But at the end of the day, I do think the Cavaliers do get a win. They're at home. And Indiana, you know what? Show me something, guys. Maybe Jared Allen's back by then. We don't know because the Cavaliers or the Browns or the Guardians ever tell us what's going on with injuries. So we'll never know when he's going to be back. But I think – nonetheless, that's a good opportunity for you to get a good quality home win against the Indiana team that, again, the Pacers are similar. No, they're not. But in the regards of tough to beat, they're similar to the Thunder, but in the Eastern Conference. They're not the same team. They're not. Thunder have a way higher future, in my opinion, obviously. But I do think we go 2-1 on this first 3 games. It's the right answer. It's the correct answer. And I'll see you guys next week when I'm holding on to my top spot again.
Hold on. I'm sticking with my 3-0, but I can go through my explanation of why I'm going 3-0. Outside of it's Cavs.
You didn't even give explanations last year, Jeffrey. You would just go Cavs.
Wow. But listen here. The Nets game is very obviously one of those things where you're like, Jared Allen's out. It's going to probably be a loss because our rebounding stinks. I don't think Brooklyn is really that. I don't think they're a great rebounding team. I don't think they were.
A named Ben Simmons who can give you 10 boards a game, Justin.
That's fair, but when you look at the rest of their roster, I don't think they added anyone with a whole lot of height. I think that this is going to be one of those games where it's a boxing match more than anything with your guards and with obviously like. Logan said Mikal Bridges is probably going to have one of those games against Strus or whoever lines up across from him. But when you get down into the paint and all of it, I mean, I think it's going to still be an even matchup with Evan Mobley anchoring us and Claxton anchoring for them.
He's a pain.
I think that's just like that's a game where it's going to be punch for punch. It's going to be back and forth, but we pull it out at the end. The Thunder are very much, like Logan said, a young, and Jeff said as well, a very young and up-and-coming team where I think they have a whole lot of talent, but I just don't know that they're going to be able to put it together this early on, in the season and coming into from the preseason and whatnot. I think they're going to have a mid-season breakthrough. The Pacers are actually the team that, for some reason, I feel the most antsy about because they still have Miles Turner, they still have Buddy Hield, they still have Halliburton, and then they went and added a whole lot more of offense on their side.
Benedict Matherin's only getting better.
Yeah, and this is a team that they ran. You know, they brought in Toppin as well. You know, they're a team who wants to move, and that's going to be one of those games where, like, all right, did we really improve our pace from last year? Because this is a team who's going to be running the ball like
Valid.
no other. So, but at the end of the day, this is the Thunder, the Pacers are teams you have to be better than, just plain and simple. It doesn't matter how the game looks or how it goes. You just have to win those games. The Nets game, yeah, I could see us losing it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's one of those ones where that's got to be your competitive kind of boxing match. These other two, you just got to, like I said earlier at the top with season predictions, you got to start off strong.
Fair enough. Well, gentlemen, kicking off season 3 with a bang, 45 minutes of Cavs encapsulated content. If you've never seen us before, welcome in. We appreciate you. We do this weekly for the Cleveland Cavaliers. If not more, there will be more content on the way. If you've been with us for 2 full seasons and kicking off the 3rd one, thank you. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Comment down below record predictions. We got 1-2, 3-0, and 2-1. So we got a mixed bag here. Should be an interesting year of predictions. Should be an interesting year of recording jabs across the virtual airwaves of Cavs encapsulated. But gents, great job tonight. Really, we appreciate all you guys for coming out here. And before the next time we see you, make sure, like I said, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, throw comments down below. Shout out to Ashton for the stat line prediction idea. Huge shout out to him. And we appreciate you guys being the pulse of it all.